insurance, this is Tony Cañas, and today I want to talk to you about the how and why to make introductions within your network. I'm recording today from my childhood home in Costa Rica, so you can see a little bit of a different background. How and why to make introductions. So first thing to understand this is that your network is your net worth. And even more accurately than that, your network becomes your net worth. And the process through which your network eventually becomes your net worth is not only do you have to grow your network, you also have to invest in your network. And the way you invest in your network is by giving to your network without keeping count. And eventually, that way, when you need your network, it will be there for you. And one of the easiest ways and most productive ways to give to your network is to make introductions between people who you think would benefit from meeting each other. I personally do this in a couple of different ways. First of all, anyone that I chat with on Chat with Tony who's looking for career advice, once I understand kind of what they want or where they want to go, I make them the offer. Add me on LinkedIn. If you see anybody on my LinkedIn, on my 17,600 and growing connections, if you see anybody that would be interesting for you to chat with, anybody that you'd like to connect with, I am happy to make an introduction. Send me a message, let me know, and I'll make an introduction. And you'd be surprised how few people take me up on it compared to the thousands that I've told this to. And also, just as I meet people, if it becomes clear that an interest of theirs is very closely aligned to something that somebody in my network that I know well is an expert on, I try to go out of my way to offer to make the introduction. When I do get a message asking, hey Tony, can you make an introduction to such and such person? I go through a little bit of a mental process that looks something like this. Number one, does the introduction make sense? Especially for very young insurance professionals, sometimes they're interested in a company and I'm connected to somebody C-level in the company. They're like, hey, can you make an introduction to this person? Knowing where they're coming from and what they want to do with their career, often I have other connections lower down in the company that are much better. Number one, a much better chance of getting an answer back, and number two, much closer to the decision-making level at which my contact is likely to eventually be applying for a job. CEOs don't really make hiring decisions in the entry levels of the company, not directly anyway. So the second thing I ask myself is there a chance, I don't need a guarantee, but at least a chance that this connection brings value to both parties, right? So it definitely brings value to the person that has asked me for the introduction, but is there a chance that it at least brings a little bit of value to the person that I'm making the introduction to? If it's a clear no, then I try to find somebody else who is a better fit to introduce my friend to. But many times, I think there's a good case that this introduction will be mutually beneficial. And finally, is there a more appropriate person that I should be introducing this person to given what they want? When I do make the introduction, I do it via LinkedIn email or LinkedIn message. And basically, it's a message to both people at the same time. And it looks something like this. Hi, John. I hope you're doing awesome. My friend Sarah, parenthesis copied, is, and then a quick summary of the person and why I think the introduction is a good idea. Then I finish with, I was wondering if you'd be willing to give them a few minutes for an informal conversation to pick your brain on and kind of the reason that I think that this would be very, very helpful for this person. Thank you. This is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it. There is another arguably better way, and that is called the double opt-in intro. And I'll include a link to an article about the double opt-in intro, but basically a double opt-in intro is multi-step. You start by sending an email to your contact asking if it's okay for you to make the introduction, and then in the body it looks something like, hi John, I was asked by Sarah O'Connor, a former colleague of mine, good friend, whatever, for an introduction to you. I know you're busy, but I thought it could be a useful connection. If there's any further upside, if they have anything in common, then you include that. Then the second paragraph is, I wanted to run by you first out of respect for your time, and I'm happy to suggest a short call instead of coffee or meeting, depending on what you prefer. Let me know if that's okay. This is fantastic. This is a good way to stay out of trouble by making introductions. The reason I personally don't do it is because I'm not organized enough. Let's start there. If I did it this way, making it a multi-step thing, I'm a lot more likely to drop the ball along the way. If my contact were to reply at a time where I'm traveling or something, I might not actually follow through in making the introduction. So that's my own ADD. And the second piece is I'm a big believer that if we are connected on LinkedIn, you are seeing constant value from me because I happen to post a lot and things that I'm actively trying to create value for all of my network. So I go on the assumption that I probably have some positive capital with almost all my connections, and I'm perfectly okay with using some of that positive capital to make an intro. I don't keep track of the intros that I make, but I do kind of when I'm about to send it, right? When I go on LinkedIn, find the receptor of the introduction, I do look at our last LinkedIn message, since I always do it via LinkedIn, I make sure that I didn't make a similar introduction too recently, depending on the relationship I have with that person, right? So that person is Lamont Boyd, and we're good friends, known him for a very long time, and he has said that he welcomes those introductions, then I won't worry about it. But if it's somebody that I don't know that well, then right, I probably don't want to make an introduction every week or maybe even every month. But if it's been 6 months since I made an introduction to this person, then it's probably fine. But yeah, the safest way to do it would be the double opt-in. Whichever way you choose to do it, the biggest thing I want you to take away is, regardless of where you are in your career, you have valuable information, contacts, valuable data. I don't know how to put it. You have value. There's a way. You have value that you can provide to your network. Even if you don't think you do, you have value that you can provide to your network. Be willing to do it. Be willing to, in your own little way, wherever you are in your career, the more you give to your network without keeping count, the more your network will be there for you when you need it. The time to build your network is now, and the time to water your network is now, so that you can harvest those connections later. Thank you.